to kind of look or listen to and just really kind of hone in my presentation for Thursday.
Got it. So what I'm going to do is I'm recording. So what I'll do is I'll talk to you as if I'm talking to the group of realtors. Make sense?
You what?
I'm going to talk to you as if you're one of.
In, sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm going to talk to you like you're one of the realtors in the audience.
Yep, and I'm going to respond as if I'm the realtor. Got it.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So I usually start with a story. You know, my whatever story you want, I usually try to tell a joke, and the joke that I always use is so this really wealthy older guy is on his deathbed, and he asks three of his best friends to come to his side because he needs a favor from them. So he brings in an attorney, he brings in a politician, and he brings in a lender, and they all come to his bedside, and he asks each of them to take $100,000 of his money. And when they go visit him at his funeral, they ask that that each of them put his money in his casket for him. And so they all reluctantly agreed. And the time comes, he passes, and they each go to the funeral, and they each come up to the casket. And the first guy leans over and putting the casket, and he leans in, and he puts $80,000 in the casket, and he nods his head and says his goodbyes. The next guy comes up and he puts in $50,000 in his casket, and he nods and says goodbye. The third guy walks up and says he notices that the money's not all there, so he puts an envelope on the gentleman's chest, and he leaves. And they're riding in the limo to the gravesite, and the attorney is the first one that pops up. He goes, "Listen, guys, I've got something I got to share with you." He goes, "I feel terrible. I had a debt that I had to pay off, and so instead of putting the whole $100,000 in, I only put in the 80." And the politician says, "Well, if you're going to share that," he goes, I feel even worse because I had to pay off my ex-wife, and I had to give her $50,000. I only gave $50,000 into the casket." Well, the lender sits back and goes, "Guys, I can't believe you. I will tell you with 100% certainty from the bottom of my heart, when I wrote that check for $100,000, I put it all in there."
That's pretty good.
And so that usually starts the conversation off. And so what I usually then do is I enter into the conversation of, okay, guys, you've heard lenders talk. You've heard lenders talk over and over and over again. Well, instead of asking you for anything today, I'm going to give you guys something of value. If you guys could leave here today with one piece of information that would be better, that would better your business, does everybody agree that it'd be worth your time? And everybody raises their hands. And so what I usually start with then is, before I get into the details, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I've been in the business, X, Y, and Z, and so on and so forth. And I simply say, so what I'd like to figure out from you guys first is a couple things to make sure we're all on the same page. Who here believes or has an idea of how they define a successful transaction? And I go around the room, and each of them provides me some sort of an answer. And it's funny because most of the time, before you even ask the question, each one of them is going to give you an answer that you can already predict. And sometimes it's fun to listen to what their their answers are, and to probe them a little bit, especially the ones that say don't get fired, don't get yelled at, whatever the case may be. And so as I go around the room and I actually ask, because you have a small group, like 6 or 7 realtors, right?
Yep.
What I would actually do in this particular case, my friend, is I would actually ask each of them around the table to give you some sort of an answer.
Okay.
And this will come into. Go ahead.
And it's from their perspective of what makes a great transaction, right?
Yep.
Like
what makes a successful transaction, and each of them are going to give you an answer. And more than likely, not one of them is going to give you the answer that you're going to give them when they're done giving you their responses. And so what you then do is you respond with, "Well, that's fantastic. See, I believe that all the answers that you guys have given me are the bare essential minimums that you should expect when you walk into your business every single day. I don't think that that's a benchmark to strive for. I think that that's a bare standard, bare minimum standard that we should all already accept." My definition of a successful transaction is a referral from the client before the closing. I believe that that benchmark incorporates everything that each one of you around the table has said, and I believe that that is vitally important in demonstrating our ability to take our clients through a process and have them be thrilled. Does anybody here disagree? And not a single person is going to disagree.
Right.
And then I followed up with, so we're all on the same page. We all want and believe that the best definition of a successful transaction is a referral. How many here believe that they deserve a referral? And watch how many people raise their hands and how many people don't raise their hands. A lot of times I get everybody to raise their hands, and you'll jump on that answer here by the time you get to the third question.
Okay.
And so the next question I said, so which would you guys each prefer to work with? Would you prefer to work with a referral, or which one would you prefer to work with a lead? And I go around the room. Well, yeah. Every single one of you guys is going to say a referral. There's not even a debate. I would simply say, raise your hand. And every single person would say, I would work with a referral. And how many of them actually understand what a referral is what I'm asking myself in my head. So I'm going to try to clarify that. So when you ask them if they prefer to work with a lead or referral, pick one of the agents out and go, okay, how many referrals did you get last month? How many referrals is enough in your business? Kind of probe that question a little bit and really try to get them to start thinking about their business as it relates to referrals.
Okay.
This is you now, this is me in this particular case. This is me role playing out what a consultant or business advisor does. I'm not positioning myself to be a lender here at all. Do you kind of get that so far?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so when I talk about myself in the beginning, I don't talk about myself as a lender. I don't talk about myself as closing loans. I talk about myself as being able to develop relationships and understand the power of the power of endorsements and the law of reciprocity and things of that nature. These are all things that realtors are attracted to, but they don't really understand how it works, and they don't understand what they don't really understand how to improve themselves. So then I circle back and go, so we're on the same page today. I've asked two questions. The first one is, you guys define a successful transaction as a referral, and each one of you would prefer to work with a referral as opposed to a lead. So how many here are paying for Zillow and marketing leads? And ask them, how many people are paying for marketing? How many people farm a database? How many people farm a neighborhood? How many people farm or market or do some kind of marketing expense? I don't know what the market is like down in your area. If you had to guess, how many agents that you'll be talking to tomorrow will have a marketing budget that they're spending money on?
Man, I don't even know. Probably half. Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and then you ask them, so you prefer to work with a referral, but yet you're not gearing your business up to work with people that know you, like you, and trust you.
What if none of them raise their hand?
What's that?
Like, no. What if none of them raise their hand? Like, no, we all work with just referrals.
Perfect.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Then it's going to make the next question so much easier. And then you're going to go, well, that's fantastic news. Because I believe that working with referrals is the best way to validate my business and to understand that I'm doing a really good job. So my question then with you guys now is, what makes you guys referable? If each one of you prefers to work with referrals and each one of you does work with referrals, what makes you referable? And before each of you answer, I'm going to ask three of you guys to stand up. And I want you guys to understand that the rule of this answer is that you can't repeat what the first person ahead of you said. So before you start, before you pick three, I ask them, I go, and here's what I've heard in the past, because I've done these meetings quite a bit. I've heard that you're honest, you're hardworking, you return your calls, you're ethical, you're licensed, you know the market, you know how to fill out paperwork, you're engaging, you're communicative, you're honest, you're dedicated, you're loyal, you treat me like a friend, you outwork the next. These are all things that I've heard from your competition. So if all that stuff is already being said, you three that are standing, what makes you referable? And remember, you can't say what the person ahead of you said. And it's like crickets. Because nobody has an answer. Nobody has a unique value proposition that really offers them up a chance to differentiate themselves. And so now you go back and revisit, here's what we've just learned. Each of you prefers to each of you prefers to define a successful transaction as a referral. Each of you prefers to work with a referral and not a lead, but you guys don't have enough referral, so some of you have to work, you have to buy leads. That's fair. And then many of you, if not all of you, don't really have an idea of what makes you referable. So to be honest, what you're really telling me is that you wake up every day and you hope that you get business from your clients and you hope that you're doing a really good job, but you don't really have a definitive answer as to why people should work with you. And I feel like if you don't have that clarity, it makes you less attractive. Not that it makes you unattractive, it just doesn't make you as attractive, and you thus are probably losing some of your business to the competition. And that's when I switch it and go, here's what makes my business, Lending Path, referable. We believe that communication is the number one reason why relationships in our industry fail, or the lack thereof. I believe that communication makes or breaks the transaction. Does anybody else here agree? Everybody's going to raise their hand, right?
Yep.
And what I believe that communication stands for is it falls under three distinct categories. My business prides itself on three distinct levels of communication. One is we consider ourselves to be exceptional consultants. We treat every client like they are unique in their own right. Our job is to answer the questions and talk about the things that they think are reality, take that perception, either make it reality or alter it so they understand what the reality is. We are not afraid of having people be disappointed in what we tell them. We're not afraid of what their responses of us are going to be. In all fairness, we consider ourselves to be like a doctor or an attorney. You're not here to make friends with us. We're here to give you the best possible advice to help you become, the most prepared as you go through to buy a house. Does everybody here agree that buying a home is difficult? Does everybody here agree that buying a home is uncertain? Does everybody here agree that when you go through the home buying process, there are going to be moments that are going to be uncomfortable? And everybody's going to raise their hand, right, brother?
Yep.
So a consultant's number one responsibility is to not paint a picture that's not true. Our job is to paint a picture that makes things real and to give people the absolute truth about what's going to happen and how it's going to unfold. That's what we pride ourselves on. And if we're great consultants to the client, that means that we're going to be great consultants to the agent that refers them to us. And that's a win-win for all of us, and I'll tell you that here in a minute. The second thing is that we are exceptional at negotiating. And I don't mean negotiating like in the sense of price. We negotiate our clients' money as if it was our own. So we fight with the underwriting, we fight with the bank, we fight with the process to try and make it as smooth and as seamless as possible so that everybody's best interests, see, being a consultant, we know now what everybody's best interests are. And so once we understand that, we go through and we negotiate the process to make sure that everything goes as planned. Does everybody agree that you guys pride yourselves on being great negotiators in the marketplace? And every one of them is going to go, yeah, I feel like I know the market pretty well. My job on the other side of the coin is to negotiate the transaction so that everything through the process is handled and we treat it as if it was our own money. And then the third and final thing that I feel like we get paid a lot of money to do, and what we really pride ourselves on, is our ability to manage our clients' fears and expectations. See, I believe that those three things, consulting, negotiating, and managing fears and expectations, you can't get from a discount broker. I don't think you can get from a big bank or a credit union or the internet. And so our clients choose to use us because we are highly skilled at these three things, all of which fall under the umbrella of communication. I believe that our ability to communicate effectively around these three pillars are what makes my branch and makes my team 100% referable. So if somebody asks me, why would we want to use Lending Path over some other shop down the street? My response is because we are exceptional at consulting, we are absolute in our ability to negotiate, and there's not a better branch or business that knows how to manage your fears and expectations.
Yeah. So you're flying in when to come do this presentation with me?
Brother, I'd do it with you in a heartbeat. I would knock it out of the park. I have so much fun with this stuff.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Like,
so it goes on.
I'm ready to sign up with you, Doug. I'm ready to sign up with you.
So here's how you end it. Everything that I just talked to you guys about falls into what my business plan is. My business plan is not about great communication. That's just a tool we use. Our number one goal with our realtors is to amplify relationships. Let me kind of go into detail what that means. I believe that our number one responsibility to you that falls under that role of communication is to have that client, regardless of whether they choose to use us or not, come back to you and say thank you. I believe that if I can help you amplify your relationships with your clients, it increases, and I know this for a fact, it increases their likelihood and willingness to refer us. And the reason I know that is because we understand what our value proposition is, and we use that as leverage when it comes time to ask our clients for help. See, we understand when a client says thank you to us, that what they're really saying is, how can I help you? And our response is not like what we all typically say. We usually say, no problem, my pleasure, it's what I can do, it's my job, I'm here to help, I'm glad to help. We respond with, thanks for noticing. We work really hard at taking you through this process and making it as easy and enjoyable as possible. Our concern is that you go back to the person who refers you and say thank you, but more importantly, we would love for you not to keep this a secret. We would be honored if you referred us to somebody you cared about. And if we partner with a realtor that has the same language and has the same mindset, there's a high likelihood, it's about a 60% likelihood that that person going through the process will talk to other people about buying a home, and they will gladly, and in most cases, be compelled to want to tell other people about us, thus increasing the chances that you and I both earn the right to get a referral. And if it comes to me, it comes to you. That's the definition of relationship amplification. And if your lending relationship does not have that fundamental core value in its business and its purpose in dealing with the clients, there might be a better mousetrap out there for you to consider.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds awesome. So with everything that you just said, is there anything else that I should talk about as far as my team? Because one of the things I definitely want to work into the presentation is the leads need to go to my loan partner, and I know you and I don't agree, or we have different thoughts on this. Where, like, who's taking the application and stuff.
No, I think you can make it work in any situation. You just have to train the people that are filling in the role. Like, if you have a person that's talking to the client, they've got to be trained in the art of setting the stage and being that consultant. And if you have somebody that's behind the scenes, you've got to teach them how to look for those moments of referable, orchestrating referable moments. It can all be taught. It's not difficult. It's just something that people have to buy into. But here's what I don't want you to do. I want you to say as little as possible about your process and about your, the intricacies of your business, because I think a lot of times you're going to lose them unless they start asking you questions. What I would do after you've done that presentation, be prepared after a 30 to 35 minute presentation, which, to be honest, let's be honest with this, keeping them longer than 30 to 35 minutes is a waste of your time.
Yep.
You'll be lucky if most of them aren't going to be on their laptop anyway. And so what you then need to realize is at that point, you can either open it up to answers and questions, questions and answers. But I would tell you that your best call to action at the end of that presentation is to go, now, I'm not sure if our team is going to be the best fit for every one of the agents here, but I would love a chance to sit down with you one-on-one and see if we can't help amplify your relationships with your clients to help you increase your business and your referability. So I'd love the chance to follow up with each and every one of you. Please let me know or give me one of your business cards, and my team and I will set up an appointment so we can meet one-on-one. At the point you meet with them one-on-one, then you get into the intimate side of the business and what really goes on. Okay. Talking about that in front of a large group, it's going to be a waste of your time. And after this presentation, you only have to have them leave with one thing. And that one thing is that you're not a lender that they've ever heard before. And two, they understand that your value is amplifying the relationship that they have with their client for them. That's it. Anything more is just it's gonna be lost in translation, and they're not gonna remember, and it's just gonna be a waste. You're better off getting them right to the edge of their seat and then walking away. It's like the takeaway method, you know? It's like leaning in for a kiss and then backing away and be like, no, not today.
And then backing away. Yeah, nah, maybe later.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. Maybe later.
Yep. And it gives me a reason to set because my goal is to build a personal relationship with each one of them, right? And so it leaves me that door open to connect with them and set an individual lunch or coffee with them and whatnot. So
all you're doing is trying to pique their interest and to get them to see you as being somebody that they're not used to. I'm not trying to convince them that you're the best lender for every client. That's not the point. You're just the best lender for them to talk to first. Like, you want them to realize that any client talking to you is an asset and is an advantage to them, because there's not another lending shop out there that understands the power of leveraging relationships and referrals, period. And that's really, if you really get down to it, it's not an exact science, but your call to action is, I would love to help amplify your business. The best way for me to do that is to amplify a relationship that you currently have. Is there anybody I can help you build a referral with? You don't have to tell them you want a loan. You tell them that I want to help you grow your business. Give me an at-bat with one of your clients, and I promise you that I'll amplify your relationship, and you'll be better for it. That sounds so much better than, I want a lead. I want a loan. Who do you know this weekend that's been working? You know, that's not in it for them. And so you've got to articulate it so that it's value-centric for them, and it's not about you.
Yeah. Cool, man. I like it. That sounds great. All this stuff is great information. What I'm going to do is listen to it and then just kind of, just go over it in my head, and that's what I'm going to do, man. I'm going to present it.
Yeah. And if you wanted to get visual with it, you can draw the triangle of trust if you want, but you can use that when you're doing your one-on-ones too. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll save that for the one-on-one. The way you did it today is very clear and very, I liked it a lot. So, that sounds good.
And the best part about
you doing that.
God, no, I trust me. 20 years of suffering through my business so that I could teach somebody else it. It's what I live for. It's what I love. But here's the cool part about this, Heath. If you learn it, then you can teach your LOs it. And then instead of me being the prize, you can be the prize. Teach your LOs.
Right.
Because everything that I'm teaching you, you can turn around and tell to your, this is a conversation that your LOs can have with a face-to-face coffee meeting with a realtor. I mean, this literally can be done at every coffee appointment that you want. And you should have no fear that if you talk to a realtor, you're not calling them as a lender. You're calling them as a business partner. I've got something to offer you that nobody else can. Let's talk. If you don't want to talk, then I understand you don't care about your business and a relationship mindset. That's okay with me. I'll move on to the next. I only need 10 of them. And trust me, there are 10 realtors out there that think just like you, brother. I promise. And now you don't have to feel like you're selling them. That's where call reluctance comes in, is that you're trying to sell them on something. And the truth is that when you speak this kind of stuff, brother, you're not going to have an issue with them. They're going to frog you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're bringing something of value to them, and they want more.
That's right. And then you have a constant drip on that. And if you follow, if we talk on a regular basis, I will give you nugget upon nugget upon nugget upon nugget that you can invest into those conversations with every week.
Awesome. Well, man, I sure appreciate that. I appreciate this. This is awesome information, and I'm gonna use it, and I'll let you know how the presentation goes.
Please, if they kick you out, don't tell me.
I highly doubt they'll do that.
I don't think they will either, but there's always that chance. You could end up in a ruckus group. Who knows?
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
But if you're just gonna send